This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian.
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit, Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hello, everybody. This is Fabio Makisig of Puso Wrestling, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the ace of Philippine Pro Wrestling, Fabio Makisig.
Hello, everybody. It is I, Fabio Makisig.
And how are you? And how are you today, Fabio?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited for the interview, so I'm doing great today.
Absolutely, and we're excited to have you on as well. And where can people get excited to see you next, event-wise?
Okay, so I will be there in the succeeding Puso Wrestling shows, as well as the World Underground Wrestling Philippines and DexCon shows. You know, nothing is marketed just yet, but for sure we have something on January, February, March. For everybody to be updated, they can follow our social media. We're very active on Facebook. That's Puso Wrestling. Just search Puso Wrestling, which means Puso means heart in Tagalog. You can also follow the others like DexCon and World Underground Wrestling Philippines. So I will be where they are. So just follow our socials.
And where can we find you personally on social media?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or now X, just as Fabio Makisig. So if you type my name on any of those, my name there is just Fabio Makisig. And I think I'm the only one using this name, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's definitely a plus, especially when you're a pro wrestler. Merchandise?
Yeah, so basically, you can get our merchandise with the Nutcases Helix Pay. Nutcase is our merch provider. You can get my merch, Fabio Makisig merch, from the nutcase.helixpay.ph.
Perfect. And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all his social media and Puso Pro Wrestling will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox.
Alright,
let's get into it. Can you tell us about Puso Pro Wrestling? I believe Puso means heart, correct?
Yes, it is. Puso means heart. So basically, we chose the name Puso Wrestling because, you know, pro wrestlers have a lot of heart doing what we do. This thing hurts, and to still do it despite it hurting, that means you got a lot of heart.
Right.
That's why we called it Puso Wrestling.
And Puso Wrestling actually comes right after the closing of Manila Pro Wrestling, no?
Yeah. So before Puso Wrestling was Manila Wrestling Federation. We were the biggest in the Philippines, but it closed down, I think, around May this year. Closed down May this year. And after that, the old gang, the old roster of Manila Wrestling Federation came together to form Puso Wrestling. We're a promotion made by pro wrestlers, by Pinoy wrestlers, for the pro wrestling and Pinoy wrestling fans. So, you know, it's pretty good. It's pretty exciting.
And obviously, you know, Manila, you were a huge part of that. You actually resurrected it back in 2022, correct?
Yeah, that's when we returned. Like we returned full power. But the first event that we did was in December 2021. But the full power and the entire gang came together in 2022. So yeah.
Okay. So, what are I'm assuming you're part of the backstage of Puso, no?
Yes, I'm also part of the backstage. I do coaching as well as other business, business type of stuff for Puso Wrestling. So most of us here do two things at once. So I handle the coaching of the new trainees and the business.
Now, what did you kind of learn from MWF that you kind of brought into Puso to say like, okay, well this didn't work, but this is going to work because of what you've learned?
I think because MWF was a pretty big promotion, MWF went for bigger sponsorships, for bigger business partners. But however, when we jumped over to Puso Wrestling, I made the decision to keep everything a little bit smaller, a little bit more close to the heart, as they say. So Puso Wrestling works with a lot of small businesses because we believe that Puso Wrestling is still small. The Filipino wrestling industry is still relatively small. So we're going to work with other small businesses so we can grow together. And that decision has been really beneficial for us because now we have a lot more sponsors and business partners ever since switching to small to medium enterprises.
Now it does feel like whether it was MWF or Puso, I mean you've kind of taken the Philippine pro wrestling scene on your back. Like you started, you were one of the first in MWF. Obviously, you're a big part of the current product. What kind of inspired you to try and make pro wrestling so big in the Philippines?
That's a pretty good question. That's a really good question. Thank you. So basically, when I first came in the scene around late 2015, early 2016, the industry was still it was even smaller than it is today. And I was really interested in pro wrestling. I was really interested in the athletic aspects of it. And to me, it just felt like a waste that only 30 people see us do all of these amazing things, and everybody was pouring their hearts into it. So I felt like with what we do, with the level of love and devotion that we give, I feel like we deserve a bigger audience. So I think that's where my drive comes from, because I want more people to see what we do, because I think it's cool.
All right. Now, going back to MWF, you was the champion at one time.
Mm-hmm.
What did it kind of mean to you to be the Manila Wrestling Federation champion, especially at that time?
It was a really important role, really, because that was the time that Filipino wrestling made a comeback to national TV after almost more than 30 years. So before us, in the late 80s, early 90s, there was another Filipino wrestling promotion, and they had a TV slot. But when they closed down in the early or mid 90s, there's never been any Filipino wrestling product on local TV anymore. So last year, when I was the champion, we signed contract with Rock of Manila TV, which airs nationally. It was a pretty big deal because I was the champion that the new viewers from all over the country would see. So the pressure was there because Tajiri also just came back to the Philippines last year around, I forgot, I think the second quarter of the year. Tajiri was with us, and that's when he called me the ace of Pinoy wrestling. I got that going. Now we're going on to TV. Now I have to look good. So the pressure was really on. But I did my best, and hopefully the people saw that I have done my best. So yeah.
Well, speaking of Tajiri, can you tell us about your relationship with Tajiri?
All right. So yeah. To those who don't know, Tajiri is primarily responsible for the existence of the modern Pinoy wrestling scene because for some reason he decided to do a show in the Philippines in 2014, and it was the first pro wrestling show in decades. And him doing that inspired EWR, which then inspired MWF, and then it just basically it just grew from there. So my relationship with him is very important because if anything, he's the father of the modern Pinoy wrestling scene. And ever since 2019, he would come to the Philippines occasionally for days and weeks at a time. And when he does, he's always just, training us. And I'm one of the very few who was always there with him, always training with him. So I really owe him a lot because my popularity and my skills right now are all thanks to him.
And you've been in the ring one-on-one against him. What was that experience like, being in the ring with the Japanese buzzsaw?
Man, it was... we fought one-on-one twice, and we've done tags a couple of times. But for both occasions, when I was fighting him one-on-one, there's this overwhelming feeling of drowning. It's like I feel like the ocean of a difference between Tajiri and Fabio Makisig. So I loved every second of it because I know I'm learning, I know I'm growing. But at the same time, it's just intimidating because it's like, there's a mountain in front of you. And that's what it feels like. But I took the experience and I learned from it.
And, obviously Tajiri did take a liking to you because he did invite you to Japan to train with him, no?
Yes. So actually, he's invited me to Japan for a while now. Just me on my end, I need to save up the money because that's going to be a major, really major thing. Because basically, I'm going to be moving to Japan for months at a time, not just days or weeks. So it's really going to be a major change. So I'm still saving up for it. I'm still planning for it, and I'm still always talking to Tajiri about it.
And what does that kind of mean to you to have, obviously a Japanese legend personally invite you to come train with him?
Ooh, that was really wild because wrestling him, having a mentor relationship with him, trainee relationship with him is already a big deal. But when he invited me to go there, it meant the world to me because it just proved to me that what we were doing all this time is right. Because as you know, the Pinoy wrestling industry is pretty small. So most of the time, we're actually not sure if what we're doing is the right thing. Our decisions, are right. If our wrestling is right. But him inviting me to Japan and saying, "Oh, Fabio, you did a good job training everybody else. You did a good job, building the industry. But I want you to..." Because what he told me is he wanted me to kind of focus on myself as well. and see my options. And he told me that he's gonna help me do that by getting me over to Japan. So yeah, it's very validating to hear it from him.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Tajiri didn't take a liking to you right off the bat, no?
Yeah, because the first day that he trained us, the rest of my team was not exactly doing amazing, you know? And I'm with them, so even if I'm doing good, even if there's like one, two, or three of us doing good, if 10 are doing bad, it gives off like a negative impression. So that's our first interaction. The rest of the team fumbling, but that was the day one of training. But during day two, I gathered the guys like, come on, we gotta get our shit together. We have to show Tajiri that we're learning, that we can move, we can do things. So by the second day, everybody was doing better, and that kind of softened Tajiri's heart. Kind of showed him that we're doing our best, and yeah, after that, now we're here.
Hell yeah. Now, going from being coached to actually being a pro wrestling coach, how have you adapted and how have you altered your way of training compared to the way you were trained?
I'm actually very fortunate that the three people who has primarily coached me, and that is ECW's Chili Willy, and there's Tajiri and Ho Lune. So they're the three people who primarily train me, and they're actually very, very kind coaches. But when they taught me, and I had to teach everybody else, one of the things that I had to learn to adjust really is the size. Like in scale, Tajiri and Ho are used to working with relatively taller and stronger people, as well as Tajiri. And Coach Chili is a big guy, he's a big, he's tall and he's heavy.
Right.
So when they would teach me, I feel like, yeah, but these things are gonna be hard for Filipinos who is like 5'5" to 5'8" only, and not as heavy. One of the things I had to learn was to adjust that strength and physical requirement. But interestingly, after the pandemic, for some reason, most of my trainees stand at 6 foot tall now. So I'm like, ooh, that's another adjustment. But yeah, every time I learn something new, one of the things that I have to do is really adjust to pass it on to everybody else in the team. Yeah.
I gotcha. Alright, taking it back to Puso Pro Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we're still in the midst of crowning a world champion, a heavyweight champion, no?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. But by the time that this podcast come out, I think yeah, we would have our new champion. But for now, we don't have it yet. So I'm really excited to see that. Actually, very excited to see who will be our first champion.
Hell yeah! And I believe there's going to be tag team championships as well. No?
Currently for Puso, we do not have a tag team championship, but Wu has a tag team championship, so we're kind of sharing that. The current Wu tag team champions often wrestle with us.
Okay.
So yeah, we're kind of sharing that.
Okay, I gotcha. Obviously heavyweight championship is important, clearly. But I did notice, you do have a low-key, a pretty strong female roster as well.
Yes.
Are we going to see a woman's title as well?
Hopefully soon, and actually that one is my wife's decision because, as you know, as you, it, but the audience and the fans might not know this, but Puso Wrestling actually has the biggest women's roster in Southeast Asia, and actually it's my wife who leads the production of Puso and a lot of the other shows here. So while personally I want one, but we'll see whether we can pull it off. Maybe my wife will plan something really amazing and we'll have a women's championship soon. But I'm really hoping for one too.
Hell yeah. I mean, and it's fantastic that it has the biggest female roster as of right now. Because I believe at like one point it was just Crystal, and that was it.
Yeah, yeah, just Crystal, like literally the only female wrestler in the Philippines.
Right. And I believe a lot of these girls you trained personally, no?
Yes. So right now there's we call them the Pinay Five, the five Pinay wrestlers carrying the torch in Puso over at Puso. Four of them come from my lineage, so I'm really proud and I'm really happy of what they're achieving and what they've achieved. So I'm like super proud of them.
I mean, hell yeah. Like you said, largest women's roster in Southeast Asia. A lot of, I'm speaking to a lot of promoters around that area. It can be a struggle to get girls to want to be in pro wrestling. So it's definitely,
Yeah.
you know, a plus, I would say.
Yeah. So I don't really know what I or my team did, but for some reason we get female trainees, they stay. So I still got a couple more in training. Hopefully by next year they're gonna be ready. So that's another thing to look forward to.
Hell yeah. Now, you also mentioned Ho Lune.
Yes.
Loki has been a big component to just Southeast Asia pro wrestling
Oh
in
yeah.
general.
Yes.
Not a guy that necessarily gets his flowers for having his hand in all these places. Can you speak to your relationship with Ho Ho?
Okay, so here's a funny thing with Ho Ho and Southeast Asian Pro Wrestling. I think all of us here, or at least the older ones, old enough to have been personally taught by Ho Ho. Whenever we get together, we always share and compare old man Ho Ho stories. That's what we call them. So he's not that old, but to us, like he's a wise old man, always telling us to do things a certain way, and it's really nice. But one thing that I want people to truly understand, especially people over in the non-Asian shores, how important Ho Ho is, because when Southeast Asia did not have pro wrestling, he was the guy who made it so that, okay, I'm gonna start Hong Kong Wrestling Federation, and I'm gonna help the other countries who wants to start their own. And they don't know this, but Ho Ho used to fly himself to different countries in Southeast Asia just to train us, you know? Like, how selfless can you be, right? So he flies himself, trains us, and then does his own thing. Comes back every few months or so to check on us. So Ho Ho, I think he will go down in history as one of the most important figures in not just Filipino wrestling industry, but the Southeast Asian industry as well.
Definitely carving out a legacy for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned your wife is also involved in pro wrestling, the production side. Can you tell us about
Yes.
the advantages and disadvantages of working alongside your significant other?
I think there's a lot of advantages making executive decisions are far easier when business partners want something. It's easy for me to get it approved because I'm literally just gonna ask her. 'Cause, we live in the same house and all. I don't have to schedule a meeting or shoot her an email. I'm just gonna like, oh, the sponsor wants to do. Think we can do this, and she'll answer. So I think that's a good thing. But I think the bad thing is that too. Like, if she needs something done, I'm the closest guy who she can tell. So a lot of the a lot of the tasks fall to me first. So if she needs somebody to do something, I'm the first guy she's gonna tell.
I gotcha. Alright, and keeping up with that, you actually have a podcast with her. Fabio
Yeah.
and Mira
Mira.
Talk podcast.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
So basically, because of the level of involvement we both have, and of course, when we're doing it with the team, of course, we have to be unbiased. We have to be very professional with everybody and make sure that, all the checks meet, all the circles are circled, the X's are X, things like that. So we started that podcast just to like have a relaxed conversation with each other, where we can be honest, like, oh, I like this wrestler, oh, I like this one. So basically, we just talk about the stuff that's going on in the Pinoy wrestling world, and sometimes we also talk about our personal relationships with the people in the industry, which can be fun because we're together most of the time. Us Pinoy wrestlers, we spend a lot of time with each other, so it's us talking about our experiences, relationships, and fun stories with each other.
Is that something you came up to do together? Or was that something she brought to you or you brought to her?
It was something that we thought of doing for a while now, because we always we always talk shop but make it fun. And at multiple occasions we said, oh, I bet fans would enjoy hearing these types of conversations. That's what podcast about is. So like for years and for months and years, we're always telling that to each other, and it's just this year we decided to actually do it.
Oh yeah. Now, can you tell us about the hot dog armbar?
Okay, so my brother in pro wrestling, Nigel San Jose, for some reason he just likes eating hot dogs, and he just thinks it's funny. So we're always joking about hot dogs, and one training he brought this hot dog suit, and he said, hey man, what's gonna be funny if we just wrestle people wearing the hot dog suit. So I hey Joey, come here, and I put the hot dog suit on me. I said, what, let's spar, let's go. And we started rolling. It was hilarious because he was moving in the perfect way for me to set up an arm bar. So I got it. I got the arm bar, and it's hilarious because there's a guy wearing a hot dog costume giving somebody an arm bar. So I really found that hilarious.
Will we see Hot Dog Fabio in Puso Pro Wrestling?
We don't know. We don't know, but if there is ever an opportunity, that would be really cool and hilarious.
Oh yeah, like Fabio going Super Saiyan, but it's a hot dog costume that gets him there.
Yeah, with all of the toppings too.
Ooh, like if ketchup and mustard had different effects.
Yeah.
We're workshopping here. But I think that's a great segue into Fabio's bizarre adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Ooh. Okay. I got quite a few of these. and mostly involves really passionate fans. I love the Pinoy wrestling fans. They're really passionate. They like showing their appreciation for us. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes it's too much because there was this one time we did a mall tour. So basically, we went to different malls promoting our show. We did one, and so I was just on the stage. I did a promo, did a backflip on stage, went down, and I was walking to the restroom. I was going to the men's restroom. And there's somebody who grabs my elbow, pulls me to the side, and just starts, shouting like, "Oh my God, it's you, Fabio! Oh my God!" I was doing that. I'm like, I think, in my second or third year wrestling, so I wasn't that popular yet. But there's this guy, like, he was so happy that he met me, and I didn't know what to do, but I try to be kind. Like, I really need to take a leak, but okay. So I think I signed his shirt and took pictures with him. So that happened, and there was another one. I was in a business district. I think it was with my day job from before. I was wearing a suit. I was looking all professional. I was just walking back home because I was from the office. I was walking back home, and across the street, there's a guy who just like literally across the street, he shouted, "Oh my God, it's Fabio Makisig," and crossed the street with no care for the cars going by. Came up to me, and I'm so nervous. Like, am I gonna see somebody get hit by a car? That was what I was thinking. Yeah. So he crosses over the street, talks to me. So we do a picture, and yeah, the fan went home happy. I think that was the one when I was a bit famous, when documentaries on me came out. That one was kind of understandable, but I love our fans. But sometimes when you see me, it's fine. Or we can chill, we can talk, but no need to shout my name. Not everybody knows me.
And definitely don't run in traffic as well.
Exactly. Like, right? Like, traffic rules. Come on, don't run headlong into traffic.
Just out of curiosity, are fans in the Philippines smart to what you guys are doing? For lack of
yeah, they're smart to what we're doing, but at the same time, they're also very immersed. It's like the best way to put it here is that fans are following for the story and the amazing wrestling, and then they fall in love with the characters, and they adhere to that character. Yeah.
Okay, so Philippine fans, they know what they're watching, so to speak.
Yeah. Yes.
And you mentioned it. The story of strength and struggle. The documentary that was made about you. Can you tell us about that and what it kind of meant to you to have a documentary made about you?
Okay, so I think, but that one was, I think, the fourth or fifth one that was done about me, because I normally get one for once a year, because people like featuring stories of Pinoy wrestlers, but the story of strength and struggle is very special to me because a childhood friend of mine actually made that. So, we spent a lot of time in our younger years, and then we got older, went our separate ways. Then when we met again, because he fell in love with Pinoy wrestling, and I was there. When we met, it was so interesting because now he's a filmmaker and a creative, and he said, "Hey man, let's tell your story to the world." And so I love that documentary because it was very respectful and it showed the honest reality that we're living. So that meant a lot to me, and me and my friends poured our hearts into that. So if our listeners haven't seen it yet, just Google it. The story of strength and struggle, and just type Fabio Makisig after. It's likely gonna pop up.
Oh yeah, for sure. you know, obviously, you're doing great things in Puso Pro Wrestling right now.
Thank you.
What is something you know now that you kind of wish you knew back then when you started this journey of making Philippine pro wrestling, a mainstream?
Ooh, there's a lot of lessons, really. Ooh. Aside from wrestling techniques, I wish the wrestling techniques I know now, I wish I knew back then. But another thing that I wish I knew ever since was that small businesses will be more willing to partner with us than big businesses because I think that's our level. It's gonna be much more beneficial for both us and small businesses to work together. And I really wish I could tell younger me that, because then I would know the direction I can help. Yeah.
Okay. Well, can you tell us about that time you were on Family Feud?
Yeah. Ooh, that one is weird and wild and fun too. It was a random thing. We got a call. We got an email and said, can you guys send us a couple of? If I remember right, they emailed me and said asked if I can gather a couple of Manila wrestlers back then, do it with them. So I gathered. My thing is I just gathered the most good-looking ones. So you got Crystal, Chelsea Marie, and back then his name was CJ Serafin. He changed his name now. We're like, okay, we're like the good-looking ones because it's gonna be on national TV. And we did the thing. We did Family Feud, and honest to goodness, James, I'm telling you, when we were not intending to win, we were because to us, if the audience sees this, they think we're entertaining. They're gonna watch us. Like the money is good, right? But we gotta make them fall in love with us. So we were just trying to make it really fun, really light. But we ended up winning the first part. So we ended up winning. I'm like, we didn't plan this far, right? So I went in. They started asking these questions and. So they started asking these questions, and I got a high score, but I think we chose Chelsea for the one that goes after me, and I took all of her answers because basically she just repeated my questions on my answers, which didn't count, so we lost the grand prize, but it's fine because we got the most airtime, and there's quite a few viral moments from that episode that's really popular, and in Filipino culture right now, outside of Pinoy wrestling. So I'm pretty proud. I'm pretty happy that our strategy of being entertaining and going viral worked.
And I think if people don't already know, that one of you with that answer, no?
Sorry, what's that?
I mean, the viral moment was you answering the salad question, right?
Yeah, so there's the salad one and there's the drugs one. Because the host asked things that shorten your lifespan. And I shouted, drugs! And for some reason, Filipinos really love it. For some reason, they really find it hilarious. So that's good because, I got viral. I got viral for that. Another one, not as popular but still going around, is me answering macaroni salad in a I don't know, a funny way. So that's another one. Yeah.
Yes, macaroni.
Yeah.
I think you were just in, obviously, pro wrestler mode. You're projecting.
Exactly. Right. I think, and that's what I tell my trainees. Every time we got a camera on us, a microphone on us, eyes on us. You a pro wrestler. Don't shy away. Don't shrink. Pro wrestlers, you got to peacock. You always got to puff our chest. Be entertaining. Be larger than life. So that's what I always tell my trainees. That's what I try to do.
So the Family Feud, I mean, you actually got the money, no?
Yeah, we did.
That's crazy. I always thought that was a gimmick.
No, we actually got the money, and I was surprised. I also thought it was a gimmick. Like, at least we got the airtime. But like 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, we got the money, and the reason it took so long is the bureaucracy. But we got the money. I'm like, oh my god! And at the time, I need to get my teeth done, and we had like 3 months of break. So back then, because MWF would do like 3 months of break where we don't do shows, right? And I got the money at the start of the year. I had 3 months to get my teeth done because if I wait, I'm gonna miss the first show. So the moment I got the money in January, I got my teeth done, so I was able to make the first show. That was really fortunate.
But I mean, what did it kind of mean to you to have that platform? Obviously, Family Feud is a big, show that a lot of people know. So what did it kind of mean to you to be able to represent your company on a platform like that?
It was really, really important to me because we're gonna be on national TV in the station with the biggest reach in all of the Philippines, in a primetime spot where most Filipinos actually watch. So for that 20 minutes, almost everyone in the Philippines is watching me. So I gotta put up, right? I gotta give a good impression. So it really meant a lot because that meant that we were reaching more people than we could ever do on our own. And I told that to Tajiri. I was really happy because he said that he told me that as pro wrestlers, one of the things that we must always do is get new fans. That's one of his lessons to me. So that's me trying to live that lesson. Always do TV shows, always do documentary or interviews and whatever, because we always need to get new fans.
All right. Was that the start of the heat between you and Chelsea Marie?
No, actually, the heat started this year because for some reason she stopped going to my scheduled training. Because in Puso, the coaches basically offer our time, and if you're free on this time, then come with us. If you're free on this time, there's another coach. Kind of like that. Yes, we all have our slots and schedules. Just stop coming and I asked like, hey man, is Chelsea still going to yours? I asked another coach, is she still going to yours? No man, I thought she's going to yours. So like, what the hell's happening, Chelsea? And now she does her own thing, but I just wish she keeps being successful with what she does.
Okay. So maybe not a match between the two of you to determine these issues, to settle these issues?
I don't mind, really. I don't mind, but I don't know if she's ready for that.
Oh. The student
But
is not
I don't
ready
mind
to
that.
wrestle the teacher.
Definitely. No, it's just like it's 10 years too early for her, I built this industry for people like her. So she gotta learn her place and wait until she can go with me,
I gotcha. Alright. Can you tell us about your Gundam robot collection?
Oh yeah. So one of the things that I like doing outside of pro wrestling is building Gundam figurines or model kits. I got quite a few on my table right now, and I got quite a few behind me. So this is really what I do to enjoy my downtime, And before I used to post in groups for Gundam, but they figured out who I was, and I kind of stopped because I sometimes I don't want to be a pro wrestler. Sometimes I just want to enjoy what I do.
Right.
So I stopped. I stopped posting in those groups.
So it's kind of it kind of gives you a breather from pro wrestling, no?
Yes, it gives me it gives me fresh air and rest from the violence and hecticness and constant training the pro wrestler life entails.
What is your favorite Gundam that you have?
Ooh, I think my favorite is something called the HG Unicorn. It's also my wife's favorite. But the one that I like the most is the RG Unicorn, and I think it's the most expensive one I have, or relative, because it's still on the cheap end, in the grand scheme of Gundam line. I got the real grade Unicorn, and basically everything moves. Like every part of it, if it looks like it's a door, it's a door. It's really amazing, but also at the same time, my wife and I spent like 3 nights just building it because it was so difficult, but it was fun.
Was that the most difficult one you had to build?
Yeah, because they had pieces which was like 0.5 centimeters, or like really really tiny. But you had to use like the tiny thongs they used in laboratories. I don't know what it's called in English.
Tweezers.
Tweezers. There we go. Yeah. So you have to use tweezers to put some parts in because they're so small.
Oh wow.
This wild, and if it falls down, like good luck finding it.
Right. Is there any ones you have your eye on next that you're looking to purchase?
Ooh, I'm looking at something called the HG Spartan. Basically, they're like the SWAT of the Gundam world. I'm looking at getting one, but it's pretty rare now. But if I see one, I'm really gonna get one. It kind of looks like Master Chief from Halo.
Oh yeah.
So has that vibes, and I just think it's so cool. It's my color too, green. So I definitely need to get that.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Okay. That being said, can you tell us about your love of Dungeon Messi? For our English speakers, the list is in Dungeon.
Oh my God! Oh, even that like you're like the Nardwar of pro wrestling,
Yes.
Okay, so because actually it was my wife who first started watching that, and I love Dungeons and Dragons. I love that like that high fantasy type of deal. I also dig that. She watched it and she said, "Oh, you're gonna love it, so go and check it out." When I checked it out, it's like they got everything that somebody who loves Dungeons and Dragons would like. So saw it and I'm like, this is my thing. Plus the relationships with the characters is so fun. My favorite has got to be Senshi and Chilchuck. Chilchuck because I kind of feel like that sometimes, like everybody's making dumb decisions. He's the only realistic one around. Sometimes I kind of feel like that, but I also like Senshi because I like cooking, so I really find him very relatable.
Oh yeah, I think anybody could relate with a guy that just enjoys cooking.
Right?
Yeah. No, I've really enjoyed the show as well. But I'm just a really big fan of the production studio that made it, Trigger.
Ooh.
Trigger has been one of my favorite anime studios of all time. So when they said they were making a new anime, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
What other anime have they done?
Off the top of my head, Kill la Kill.
Okay.
what was it called? SSS Gridman and Daima Xeon. What else did they do? Oh, the Cyberpunk 2077 no, Cyberpunk Edge Runner, I should say.
Okay.
So yeah, Trigger definitely has some of my favorite animes of all time.
That's interesting. I know Kill la Kill because that one's popular. So I know Gridman, but I haven't really started, getting into it yet. But they got cool figurines and stuff. So
I think
they have kits too.
I was gonna say, Gridman might be right up your alley because obviously the giant mech robots. But just genuinely, the story is really good, and there's a big twist in the middle, and the ending is absolutely phenomenal.
Okay, now I feel more, compelled to check it out. So yeah, I'll definitely look into that.
What are some of your favorite animes?
Ooh, I got, because anime is like one of the things that, cause us pro wrestlers, we do a lot of training. We're like, we don't always have a lot of free time, but I make sure I got time for Gunpla and anime because that's when I unwind. So one of the things that I truly love is the anime that I truly love is this anime called Hozuki. I don't know what it's called in English, like the full thing, but it's Hozuki. It's basically the bureaucrats from hell, and it's not horror. It's more like slice of life, and it's basically how he runs hell, like the organization and the logistics of hell. I find that really cool. Oh, and the original Gundam, the Universal Century Gundam. I love that.
I don't think I've heard of the first one, but it does sound interesting.
Oh, it is interesting. If you're into Japanese folklore and mythology, it's fun because they also dive deep into that.
Interesting. Gundam, favorite character?
Full Frontal and his Sinanju. Definitely my favorite.
Hell yeah.
Love his hair too.
Alright. I think that's a great segue into the colossal question. Let's say they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Ooh, this one's interesting. I'm really happy that the band gave it to me, but my favorite Filipino power metal song, Sinag, which means sunlight or sun ray, has got to be up there. I use it as my entrance theme, so I'm really happy that I can do that, but it's got to be up there.
Okay.
Another would probably be Nova Era's Angra. Angra's Nova Era. The song title is Nova Era.
Okay.
And yeah.
And one more.
And the third one would probably be and this is like, so different from the two that I've mentioned before. Probably Folding Chair by Regina Spektor, because I also love Regina Spektor.
Okay. A solid 3 picks, to say the least. Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then you go casting. Who plays Fabio? And you can't say yourself because you are legally obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
I would. Ooh, who am I gonna choose? I would say maybe Jason Momoa because he's like the only guy with long hair and rocks it currently who does that thing. And my wife loves him too, so let's get him.
Okay, so we're trying to get our wife to see this movie.
Exactly.
Alright, now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you and your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
Okay. I'm gonna go to like my brothers in arms,
Okay.
in the Pinoy wrestling industry, and this is gonna be hilarious. Okay, so I want Adam Sandler to play Nigel San Jose because I think it's hilarious. I just think it's hilarious, and I want Steve Buscemi to play Robin Singh, and I know we're gonna get into another shouting match when he listens to this, but Steve Buscemi as Robin Singh, that's hilarious.
Okay.
And Fluffy, Joe Marliwanag, we gotta put a curly wig on Fluffy's head, and he's gonna be Joe Mar.
Okay. So basically, you get Jason Momoa, and they get Adam Sandler, Fluffy, and Steve Buscemi.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, this is sounding like an incredible movie, a blockbuster to say the least. And you can pre-order the tickets now.
If we make one, everybody got to watch it.
Oh, hell yeah. Now, on to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
It's a yes for me, and I think it's because I'm Filipino. We use pineapples on meat a lot, and because it's a good tenderizer, and the acid makes the meat taste better. So pineapples on pizza is perfectly fine for me.
Okay, so we are pro pineapple on pizza.
Yeah.
What's your spirit Pokemon?
Ooh. Before I would say Rayquaza, green dragon, really cool. But probably a more honest answer would be Snorlax. Because I'm tired all the time.
And he's green.
Yeah.
Alright. Now, weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock, not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock?
Definitely. I would do that, and I would market it like crazy. I'm gonna pull all of the contacts I built throughout the years, and just brand it. The show is Fabio Makisig versus Rock, but it's just my picture. So so when people hear that, they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, Fabio Makisig is fighting The Rock." Then they get to see me wrestle a Rock, and like, I didn't lie. You just misunderstood. But I got the ticket money, right?
And Chelsea's in the corner saying, "How the hell did The Rock get in line ahead of me wrestling you?"
Yeah, right. You gotta market.
Well, just for context, there's a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
That's wild.
Yes.
Ow.
That's what they're doing up in Canada, just so you know.
I gotta check on Ken Warren if it's still okay.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Ken knows Psycho Mike at this point. He's in.
Oh, okay.
Come to think of it, I think they're in the same promotion. So,
All right. I'm definitely gonna ask him.
definitely. Alright, on to a more serious note. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hopefully, in 5 years, I would have built a business base in Japan and would have bridged the Philippine and Japan pro wrestling relations. That's hopefully what will happen in 5 years.
Alright. And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what you are as a pro wrestler?
Actually, okay, yeah, this is gonna be weird because it's not my match. But to truly understand, I think, yeah, to truly understand me as a pro wrestler, people need to watch Joya versus Chelsea Marie because it's my spirit. That's my spirit in that match. You know, they try to kill each other. They doing all of these amazing things, you know, and then they end it really well. Well, depending on how you like the wrestling, but I think the ending is a good pro wrestling ending, and that's the spirit that I try to impart. But if they want to watch my match, Fabio Makisig versus Nigel San Jose is a good one.
Okay.
Or anytime I'm in the ring with Jake De Leon.
Hell yeah. I think you're the first person to say, a match that wasn't their own that best, shows off what you are all about. I find that very interesting. But the matches you've mentioned, can we find those on YouTube?
Yes, everything can be found on YouTube. I think even the Chelsea Marie one, but the Chelsea Joya one. But if it's not on YouTube, it's probably on our Facebook. But all my other matches, especially during the last year of MWF, I think is still available on YouTube. So they can check us out there.
Perfect. And if they are indeed on YouTube, I will find the matches and I will put a link to them in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox, for anybody that hasn't seen it, wants to see it, wants to re-see it after this interview.
Yeah.
And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom. This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Yoshi Tamura.
Worst wrestler.
Kanto Terror.
I will accept that answer. You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
I would say Tommy Dreamer, but he's old now, so I would say Roman Reigns.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Ooh, I'm gonna come out to Nobuhiko Takada's Power and Glory theme song.
Okay. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Here.
We would have also accepted taste great on toast. Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
It's a vegetable. I cook it like a vegetable.
So your final answer is vegetable?
Yeah. Is it not?
It is indeed a fruit.
What?
Yes. It has...
I've been cooking it like a vegetable.
Well, it's been lying to you. because it's a fruit.
I deep fried that thing with breading and all.
It has seeds, so it's tomato logic.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Alright. New Japan wrestler Tajiri, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Ooh. And my opinion here applies to women. I think if I can see the underbutt, I think you need to make it a little bit longer. It goes to even the women. You gotta, and the men too. We like Pride style short shorts or ring style short shorts. I think is appropriate trunk size.
So full coverage.
Yes, full coverage.
Okay. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No, because I don't do supermarkets anymore. I go to wet markets. But I never had a conversation about Darby Allin.
And that's the correct answer.
Yeah. Okay.
And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Thank you, too. I had a lot of fun in this interview.
Absolutely, me as well. Once again, where can we find you and Puso Pro Wrestling on social media?
Right, so you can just go to Facebook and type in Puso Wrestling. We're going to show up. And the same way in most of everything, we have set up our TikTok or X or YouTube or Instagram and Facebook. So just Puso Wrestling in all of those. And Fabio Makisig in Instagram, Facebook, and X.
All right. And you don't even have to type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all his social media and Puso Pro Wrestling will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn ticket. And if you're not over there, then buy a damn shirt. Give them a damn follow for sure, wherever you are. Alright, of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us tomorrow as we interview Paradox, and join us every Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews. Follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say Wrestling With, you say entertainment, okay?
Mm-hmm.
For our special guest, Fabio Makisig, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling With
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.